Hey everybody, today is April 12th. Today we're going to talk about the price of Bitcoin and whether we're finally going to break above 60,000, hold above 60,000 and push up to new highs, or are we going to pull back and possibly retest these moving averages or perhaps even go lower. Before we begin, please read this disclaimer and you can pause this video as you read it. Okay, so last week we talked about how we want to see Bitcoin, the price of Bitcoin, maintain at least this moving average, right? And we didn't end up coming down and touching it. We basically just bounced above it and went up higher, which is good. We also talked about how we seem to be in this triangle pattern, right? And we actually, over the weekend, we actually broke above. Actually, a couple hours after I made my video last Friday, the price actually pushed up very strong, above 60,000 finally, but we struggled to hold above. And right now we are above 60,000, but we're still struggling to hold above 60,000. But I think that if we can hold above 60,000, find or build a base above 60,000, we can finally push up higher, right? So this is looking very similar to something that we saw in December of last year, where we made higher lows and higher highs, but we kept hitting the same resistance level until finally we broke through strong, right? So eventually this is happening on a bigger time frame, right? This is a larger triangle. So but the idea is if we're building energy like a spring, like a coil, right? Building energy, this could possibly be a bigger breakout than this. And this could possibly take us all the way up to 100,000, which is something that I know everybody is looking forward to this year, right? That's a big milestone for the price of Bitcoin. So overall, in the short term, in the medium term, Bitcoin is looking very strong. Of course, higher lows and higher highs, finding support among the 50-day simple moving average and among the Fibonacci levels, right? Over here and over here. So the question is, can we finally break above, or is this going to be something that's just goes sideways and it rolls over to the bottom, right? And one of the big risks that we have right now is really two things. First of all, the monthly candle, right? On the monthly candle, we've had almost a record amount of green candles in a row, right? So far we have 6 green candles, and this month we're currently on our 7th green candle. If we can close this month green, right? And that would actually be a record, at least for the last like 7 to 8 years, right? Because what's the last time we saw that many green candles, right? Back in like 2012. The last time we had 6 green candles, which is what we have right now, is back in 2013, right? And so that's just something to think about, right? Even in a very bullish year, like in 2017 and 2013, we still had red candle months, right? So red monthly candles. So don't be surprised if we do have like 1 or 2 months this year, even though I expect us to go well above and beyond 100,000. Don't be surprised if we do have like 1 or 2 months where it's red, like we did in 2017 and 2013, right? That's actually very healthy for the market because we don't want this thing to just go parabolic. Because the harder and faster it goes, the faster and more parabolic it goes up, the harder it tends to crash, right? And we want Bitcoin to go up as slowly as possible, but at a more sustained rate, and that's gonna build up energy and hopefully give us a big push in that last parabolic move, right, near the end of this year. If we go up too quickly too soon, then the bull market might end also too soon. We might go into a bear market too soon as well. So another risk is the Pi cycle top indicator, which is something we've gone over many times. Right now it's only roughly $10 apart, right? So this thing is probably going to cross within the next 24 hours. I will update you again when it does cross. Keep in mind that just because it crosses doesn't mean it's going to crash, right? This thing says that when it crosses within 3 days, we might see Bitcoin crash. In the past, when it crossed within 3 days, in 2017, we saw a bear market. 2013, we saw a bear market in December, right? But keep in mind, this has crossed before, and also in 2013 in April, which coincidentally is also April this year. So even if this thing does cross and this thing pulls back, or Bitcoin pulls back, we might actually see another move higher and another cross this year, possibly, like we did in 2013, right? But I actually don't think it's as bad as people say, because look at the price action when this thing crossed, right? When Bitcoin crossed, we were going parabolic all 3 times. This time we're not going parabolic. This time we're consolidating. There's no like overly bullish sentiment like we did in late 2017, late 2013, and mid 2013, right? Where you had people, massive fear of missing out, like irrational exuberance, just pure euphoria, like people rushing in, their parents and their grandparents, like everybody talking about Bitcoin, everyone talking about buying Bitcoin. Nobody's really talking about it right now. There's like cautious optimism around Bitcoin. Some people think that it's overbought, it might come down. And as long as people think that as long as people think that there's still like this could still be like a scam, right? And this isn't something that's going to like change their life, and people aren't like taking out mortgages to buy Bitcoin. As long as people are still cautious on Bitcoin, there's actually more room to run, because that means there's more money. There's still a lot of money on the sideline that hasn't rushed in to push the price higher, right? So I actually don't think that if this thing crosses within the next 24 hours, I don't think that Bitcoin is necessarily going to crash this week, right? We might see a bit of a pullback or maybe some like resistance that keeps us moving sideways for a while. But as long as we hold this moving average, the 50-day simple moving average, right, I expect this to eventually explode higher. And I think that that explosion higher is going to be a very, very violent move up, right? Because we're coiling and spending a lot of energy on the sideways, like a spring coiling energy before it explodes higher, right? Sort of like here. And of course, in the past, we've seen Bitcoin price go sideways, and on a larger scale, right? The weekly scale, we had basically a year long where we just went sideways, and that gave us so much energy to push up higher. So if you bought Bitcoin down here, like, you've done very well so far, right? And now even on a smaller time frame, maybe not going sideways like a year like we did in 2020 and 2019, but even a smaller time frame, coiling can give us a lot of energy to push up higher towards our next milestone, which is 100,000, right? And this is where the triangle comes in, right? The triangle says that we keep hitting 60,000 as our resistance level, but every time we come down, we keep making higher lows. Why? Because the bulls are stepping in to buy and make sure the price that isn't going down lower. Like, that means there is demand, right? There's demand, and people want to buy Bitcoin at these prices, and it's because they're expecting Bitcoin to go higher, right? And last week we also talked about how people are buying call options on Bitcoin, expecting it to go a lot higher this month. So overall, I am bullish on Bitcoin as long as we hold the 50-day moving average, even though the Pi cycle top indicator is going to cross probably within the next 24 hours. And I'll update you later this week when it does cross, and we can watch and see how the price reacts together. Even though all that stuff is happening, I do think that Bitcoin will continue to go higher, and it's just a matter of time before we finally make a clean break above this triangle like we did back in late December, right? And there's no looking back from there, right? On our journey up to 100,000. So overall, I'm very bullish and optimistic on Bitcoin, and I'll definitely keep you guys updated, especially when the Pi cycle top indicator crosses in the next couple hours. So yes. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it useful, helpful, please like this video, leave a comment below, and of course subscribe for updates. Thank you all so much, and I appreciate your support. Thank you again, and have a great day.